Welcome to the Market Alert for Monday, the 4th of November 2019. So the Bitcoin news, even though the market's quiet, there's still some optimism around, ready for when the market breaks out. Bitcoin price will see 16,000 soonish, predicts Binance CEO. So let's hope that's the case, because at the moment it's been fairly quiet. As we look at the daily chart, you can see that since putting in the high over a week ago, the market is becoming incredibly range bound. But still, on a positive note here, the market's still sitting on the 200 MA, and but say it's a bit range bound at the moment and not much volatility, which you can see here. We had a bit of movement up and down, and then it's just become a bit sideways there. And again, this is reflected here as well. You can see there's not a lot happening. Just a move down about 150, just $200 to be precise. During yesterday, not a lot there at the moment, but it will, as it always does, eventually will kick in, and we'll see the market giving us some great trades. But at the moment, it's just really quiet there. However, notwithstanding, the stock markets, of course, moving back to the all-time high. This is because of the non-farm payroll figures on Friday. As I said to you, they would rig them. Let me just get them for you. So here we go. Like I say, on Friday, what you do is you make the forecast lower, and then you have the previous, obviously. But then as long as the actual is greater than the forecast, this is enough to boost you to the upside. It gives you the news and everything else you want to do to move the markets to the upside. And here you can see in the weekly chart, we're heading back to the all-time highs. In the daily chart, you'll see we're currently at this. So we're through the 76% on Friday. Note, not with any great volume. It's just a rig game, as I've said, for a very, very long time, well, for years. So we're going to go through the 27,401 level, no doubts about that. We're going to do it in the pre-market session as well, which we'll see in just a moment. So on Friday, the market trades to the DP and the 200 MA, and then we get the figures out, and then it's just a one-way bet. And you can see the market moving to the upside there. One thing also, we need to change the times now back to 2:30 as well, because 8:30, because the market has got to accommodate the change in the US clocks. Daylight savings has finished for this year. So yeah, you can see what they did with the market. They just ramped it higher, and then they just kept it there for the duration of the trading session. But overnight, the market has gapped higher and continues to move to the upside as well. You can see, in fact, I think we've already done the all-time high. We just grab a zero line, just remove this and drop this in. In fact, what would be worthwhile doing, just to see what happens today, is to actually project this all the way across 27,402 there. So to me it looks like we've already done this, or was it 401. So we're just a new all-time high put in on the overnight market for the Dow there. What a surprise. And they say every time they bring it back, they will, through a correction, then it will be taken back to make new highs. So don't be surprised if we march through a bit higher today as well. We've only got Lagarde now. Super Mario's gone. We've got Lagarde speaking today at 6:30 p.m. when the Dow will only have a couple of hours left to go. So keep this in mind. It'll be interesting to see what she's got to say. I mean, she's been left with a basket case. I don't feel sorry for her. She's already been convicted of negligence, financial impropriety, etc. So it'll be interesting to see how she's going to cope with having to print 20 billion a month, sending interest rates further negative. So yeah, an interesting time with somebody new at the head of the ECB, and of course, I think everything changes hands as well as far as the political thing is concerned as well. But anyway, back to the Dow, the market putting in those new all-time highs there. Meanwhile, in the pound, forget it for the time being, because we've got the general election well in force, and if you have a look at the 15-minute chart, you can see we barely moved during Friday, and now all of the mudslinging starts, so you're not going to see a great deal. So the high down to the low for the range was only 37 pips on Friday, so like I say, it's not worth looking at or trading at the moment. Market gapped a bit lower, but it's not moving any great shake. So it's just the Dow really at the moment that's making the moves there. And implied volatility, well, this dropped to the floor on Friday. This is fine by me. Get it down to these levels here, so we can get a good correction, because there's nothing to move the Dow to the upside. Now we've had this news out of the way. We've made the new all-time high. This market is going to correct. There's no doubts about that, and you'll see this as we look at it visually. You can see all of the green down here, and eventually we break out to the upside, and that's all that's required of this market to do in order to see a correction in prices heading back down to the 20 bar moving average. And in the daily of the Dow, we'll get the right one, go back to the daily, where we come back and attack the 200 bar moving average and then bring prices back up. Each time this has happened, the market's reversed and moved back, but we need a correction in this market at the moment to bring a bit of life to it. Meanwhile, the interest rates continue, or the yields continue to rise. 0.25, I think it was on 2.1 is what it was again on Friday. So again, this all remaining green. Recession down the line, as they say. Okay, that will do it for this one. There's not a lot to report, like I say, apart from it was highly predictable that they were going to fiddle the non-farm payroll figures. The market would make a new high. So going forward, I would expect, based upon the implied volatility going much lower, we have a correction around the corner for the Dow. There isn't anything to move the market to the upside. They've increased the repo market once more. There is real problems underlying the banking system as well, which is not being reported by the mainstream. There's a liquidity problem out there, that's for sure, as Powell keeps extending and increasing the amounts available on the overnight repo market. Okay, that will do it for this one. If there is anything else to report, I will let you know, but otherwise, as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.